let's look at economically sensitive stocks. First off, read this disclaimer carefully and do your good deed of the day by liking and subscribing and sharing. We can find the economically sensitive stocks here under economic signals. If we go here, you can see that the average performance is massively outperforming the major indexes. So big performance. And we will look at Freeport-McMoran. They are into copper, but also gold. Monstrous move, literally at 52-week highs. If we go here to the seasonality of the stock, you can see that January is like, 55% of the time the stock closes higher than it opened. So basically it is 50-50. If we go further back in time, we do actually see that January between 1995 and 2014, it was actually the weakest month. So that is something to be aware of. If we go here to the copper price, which is quite relevant, you can see that January and February are some of the stronger months for copper. If we go further back in time, the seasonality was different. So here's the company's website. So foremost in copper, if we go here to About Us, so let's look at the overview. So Freeport-McMoran is a leading international mining company. Our company was incorporated, blah, blah, blah. We operate large, long-lived, geographically diverse assets with significant, proven, and probable reserves of copper, gold, and molybdenum. Kind of cumbersome writing here, very wordy, but yeah, that's something that they should fix. Okay, so we will look at the charts. Weekly data points, we look at, the giga picture. We can go way back in time because this stock has a lot of history. So what we can see quite clearly is that when it comes to trading this stock, you definitively want to be on the right side of the trend. You can't just buy and hold Freeport. If you bought here and entered the long position, you would have, 131% gain here. Here you all of a sudden are looking at, minus 70% loss. If you bought here up to this point, 74%. But if you bought, closer to the lows, like here, all of a sudden approaching 300%. So definitively, active management is mandatory if you're going to trade Freeport. Something that is very interesting with RSI at the current level is that is this a record? So RSI is at 85 now. How high was it back here? So here we have 85.96. So basically we have almost achieved a new record as far as overbought goes. It is problematic given that this is a lot of years. Throughout all of these years, very overbought levels, even just approaching overbought levels, it tends to forewarn a pullback. So that's just the facts we have here. You can see here a 44% positive correlation with S&P 500. Huge move. Very impressive. The bulls are in charge. Looking at the daily data points, let's go way back just to get the big picture. You see here also with the RSI, it tends to be within that zone. It doesn't like to be below it or above it. Hence, the current situation is risky for the bulls. Looking here at the accumulation distribution, you can see that accumulation distribution was actually higher here during this rally than here, meaning this rally was not actually fully corroborated. So that's a bit of an issue. And there's a 94% correlation here with S&P 500. You will see here that that actually is one of the higher levels we have seen in quite some time. So basically, from a technical standpoint, the bulls are very clearly in control. Yesterday, they made a power move in just a big rally upwards. It's a very strong rally. But at this point, does it make sense to load up on a big new bullish position? I think that's risky. But let's, explore further, because the more data we look at, the easier it will be to reach a conclusion. if you look at these data points, which is one of my favorite things to look at the moment, this is, so here we have the 200-day moving average in red, and here we have the percentage distance from the 200-day moving average. So here we are at a record. If we go further back, so currently the level is, just the wild 69. Let's go further back in time. Do we see anything higher? Here we have 51. So basically, we have never been this far away from that very critical 200-day moving average. So the move, it's been very strong, but arguably very excessive. Looking here at Finviz, options are available. It is also shortable, which means that if, let's say that you have a long position on Freeport-McMoran, okay? This is not the worst time to have, maybe some put in place, just in case there is a pullback, because this is really getting excessive. The performance over the last year, 121%, huge move. There's a lot of analysts covering the stock, and you see here that as far as the target price goes, the analysts suggest minus 11-ish% downside. The reason why it is important to look at price targets is because the big players in the market, like mutual funds, ETFs, you name it, the people who manage these funds, when they have their regular meetings about which stocks to load more into or take profits from, they simply cannot defend buying a stock that is way above the analyst price targets, because they have all kinds of fiduciary responsibilities. And so basically, that's how this becomes a bearish thing, when it is way above the target price. Saks.com, they have a number 3 hold, so they are kind of a bit, being a bit careful, not super careful, but kind of on hold. It does have a B value score, B growth, and F momentum. So there's certainly, the fundamentals here are kind of mixed. There are certainly some good signs, and there are some, bit more problematic signs as far as at least the temporary picture. The dividend is almost insignificant, 0.18%. Yeah. Industry rank, bottom 8%. That's a bit of an issue. Sector rank, bottom 44%. Yeah. Okay. Hence, if we sum up here, my take on Freeport. So this is in the economically sensitive theme. So these are very, very sensitive to what happens in the overall economy, which means that when things are improving, they will go up monstrously, like Celdex and commercial vehicle. Just big moves. But when there are pullbacks, they can be very huge. And something we quite clearly could see with the history of Freeport is that when it has a pullback, it can go big. Just a pullback. The seasonality, at least if we go further back in time, it was a bit more problematic. The fundamentals also suggesting that it's a bit overextended. So, long term, I do feel speculatively bullish, looking more at the medium time frame. And also, the shorter time frame, I think that this is a time to be careful. I think that there's more bearish temporary opportunities than bullish, because the bulls have just taken the thing very, very, very far.